Back of the leader. One thing to note, he did bang his club against a tree on 16, and he appeared to have hurt his forearm, but he said he iced it, and then he downplayed the injury. We now turn to our golf expert, Chris Carter. Chris, I whisper to you the way they do. What did you think of Tiger's performance during opening round of the Valspar Championship?
I thought Tiger was outstanding. Golf course, very, very difficult. Conditions not great for scoring. But Tiger Woods, second in the tournament as far as birdies, was able to get 5 birdies. Even though 1 under, he had a lot of bogeys. So he missed his drive, wasn't hitting it as far. The last tournament he played in, he led the tournament in driving. So there's a couple things that are consistent. His driving has been inconsistent. His putting has been amazing. I would not be shocked if within the next 2 months, on a Monday, we're on this show talking about Tiger Woods has finally won. Because if you can putt the ball, and if he can stay healthy, which all the reports are, he's not having any setbacks as far as his back, Tiger Woods is going to win.
And he's trending that way.
Yes, right? If you can putt the ball in the hole. And one of the things about Tiger, they would say he's the greatest clutch putter ever. And right now, second in this tournament as far as putting efficiency. If you keep that part, I believe he'll get it straight enough, or he'll play on a course where the driving is not as important, like Augusta. And he'll be able to get the ball, because if he can make a lot of birdies, it will, an errant tee shot here or there, it will not kill him. So Tiger Woods is close to being back. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins in the next 2 months.
Well, you said you wouldn't be surprised if we're on here a Monday talking about Tiger winning. I wouldn't be that shocked if we're on here Monday talking about Tiger winning. He's 3 back of the leader. The leader's a guy named Corey Connors. You then look at the guys at 3 under. Wee Kim, Nelly Kraft, Nick Watney. Watney's the only one that has had some PGA Tour success. And then a whole bunch of guys at 2 under and 1 under where Tiger is. It's not like the last tournament where he played well, where he was playing well, where he could make a top 10, but the leaders had run away and hidden from him. Like, that's not the situation. And you mentioned it, what we had seen in Tiger's attempts at comebacks, when it gets away from him for a second, sometimes his mental focus wanes. 12 and 13 yesterday. Back-to-back bogeys after back-to-back birdies. That was such, you could see the frustration on his face. But the fact that he rallied after that, was 1 under the rest of the round to finish 1 under, that was, to me, a great sign.
Another great sign was the tee shot he hit at 16 after those bogeys deep into the trees, and had to hit an incredible shot to try to save it, hook it around the trees, and to take the chance that he did, it lets you know that his body, he trusted enough, because he knew he was going to hit the tree. He told the fans to back up, and not because the ball might hit you. I know where the ball is going to go, but I don't know. I believe the club might shatter, so the club might hit you. So having the confidence to be able to hit that type of shot, to me, is a telltale sign of Tiger Woods is close to getting back to the winner's circle.
All right, let's move on to the NFL. Earlier this offseason,
he likes that grass better, too, in Florida. That's where
oh, yeah.
The Rams snatched Marcus Peters from the Chiefs. Note the verb used. And now they have snatched Aqib Talib from the Broncos in exchange for a 5th-round pick. Same verb. Aqib Talib, if you recall, was involved in the now famous chain-snatching skirmish with Raiders' Michael Crabtree. But now he's with the Rams team, clearly looking to improve on last year. Cece, what's your reaction to the Rams? I guess you'd call it the very aggressive offseason so far.
Not only aggressive as far as the transaction, getting players that have question marks about locker room, question marks about their overall attitude, question marks about character. It lets you know they're trying to win it. They feel like they're very, very close, because you don't add 2 players to your locker room. One in Marcus Peters, who is a young superstar. And let's not forget, the Rams aren't in St. Louis no more. They're in Los Angeles. There's a lot of eyeballs. There's a lot of optics. And so when you bring Talib in, you bring Peters in, like, you are saying that, man, our locker room can handle this, but also this culture in Los Angeles, because this is the kind of things you have to do to be able to take attention away from anything going on in Los Angeles, like, because they got a lot there. If you're going to get fans in the stands, you need great players. And they're letting you know, offensively, we feel like we're as good as there are. We need some help defensively. It also lets you know they're going to play a lot of man-to-man. Because these guys, they are not good in zone. So they're going to blitz the quarterback. They're going to put pressure on the quarterback and play man-to-man outside, a lot like Denver did several years ago in winning their Super Bowl.
And what was the key to Denver winning that Super Bowl? I understand Von Miller was great. Obviously, now the year they won it, Peyton wasn't great, but the years leading up to it, Peyton had been great. But they had the best cornerback duo in the league. You can play man-to-man when you got Chris Harris on one side, Aqib Talib on the other. Since Marcus Peters came into the league, no corner in football over the last 3 years has allowed a lower passer rating. You know who's fifth on that list? Aqib Talib. People are like, Aqib's not as good as he was. Listen, Aqib is no longer in the discussion as the very best corner in football, but he would still be, in my opinion, the best corner on 22 teams in this league. I think he is still an excellent player, even if he's closer to the end of it. But I do want to say one thing about a guy whose name you didn't mention, Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. And what this tells you about Wade's approach, Wade's double the coach's age, right? More than that. Wade's in his early 70s. Wade has a son that's a coach in the NFL, a son that's older than his boss, the head coach. Wade Phillips, you know what he is not concerned about? Dealing with Aqib Talib or Marcus Peters, or at least not too concerned to say that we can't bring them in.
Right.
It'd be one thing to bring in Marcus Peters. It's another thing to say we have so much faith in our culture and our coaching staff that we can bring in a really fringe personality at his position, in his position group, a guy who he will be learning from as the young player to the star Pro Bowl veteran, and we're not worried about it. We can handle that.
It's a great point you bring about Wade. Wade was with us in Philadelphia with Buddy Ryan and all those guys we had on those defenses. Wade Phillips, one of the great assistant coaches all time in the NFL. And the personalities and getting the best out of people, that's what Wade has done. He rejuvenated the Denver defense. He rejuvenated the Rams defense. So I look for them to be one of the elite teams in the NFL.
When you have two guys that have, do you want to call them character issues?
With Aqib, I think it's fair to call it character issues. With Marcus Peters,
had some issues, whatever you want to call it. There
not
were
character.
some...
Marcus is just a different guy.
Okay.
He's
so
just a different
off-field
guy.
concerns.
Off-field concerns. When you have two guys that are obviously very talented with those off-field concerns, how hard is it to just plug them in and say, okay, both of you guys put your personalities aside. You know, I mean, you talk about this secondary, how good it's going to be. Can you factor those out? Can you just not?
The reason why you can downplay a lot of it is because the position that they play. They play a very individual position. If they're going to play man-to-man, 60% of the time, it's just they play cat coverage.
Right.
Well, what that mean? I got that cat. So what the team concept is and all that, it doesn't play into a lot. So there are certain positions that you can be a little more selfish. There's certain positions that you can be a little more about yourself.
Yeah.
And corner is one, especially for the style for which they're going to play, that you can get away with that somewhat more than other positions. Good question.
I mean, just think back, and I'm not comparing neither of these guys to Deion Sanders, but think back to when you were watching Deion play. He wouldn't even go to the defensive huddle a lot of the time. Right? Like, I mean, that was a famous, I remember Fox showing the games.
Right.
And if he knew what he was doing. Like, you guys call whatever defense you call, doesn't apply to me, because my job is to cover him, to erase him from the field. I'm not saying those guys will do that, but in man-to-man coverage, it is just a one-on-one battle for 70 plays.
The one thing, too, about Talib, I have to come to his defense, because if you see Chris Harris and his development, a lot of that has to do with coaching, but it has to do with veteran players. So Talib, you can say what you want about him. He might do some questionable stuff, but he develops younger players. Marcus Peters and him come from the same kind of stuff. Marcus Peters from the streets of Oakland. My boy Talib, he from the streets of Dallas. I believe what Talib has been through and the level he's been on the play at for the long time, he will help Marcus Peters. Because Marcus Peters, not only is he going to the Rams, he needs a new contract. This is the most important year of his career, and I believe Talib will help him get that big payday he wants.
And what we've seen from Wade Phillips when he has a star, all-time front seven guy, what he can do with the secondary. In Philadelphia, when he was there, you guys have Reggie White, correct?
Yes.
You have in Houston, you know, more recently, he has J.J. Watt. Now he's got Aaron Donald. When you have one of those star guys on your D-line, the freedom it gives him with his secondary, like the things.
Also, we saw Von Miller.
Yeah,
Best part of Von Miller's career, they're in
Good
Denver
point.
when Wade was the defensive coordinator.
Absolutely.
All right, good stuff. We are going to switch gears a little bit and get into some basketball again. Would leaving Cleveland tarnish LeBron James' legacy? That's next. First things first.